at the strange man scent which came to its nostrils. And still farther, from some little lake nameless and undiscovered in the black depths of the forest to the south, a great northern loon sent out its cowardly cry of defiance to all night things, and then plunged deep under water, as though frightened into the depths by its own mad jargon. The fire died lower. Philip moved a little nearer to the girl, whose breathing he could hear. "Jeanne," he said, softly, fighting to keep himself from touching her hand, "I know what you mean. I understand. 2 years ago I gave up civilization for this. I am glad that I wrote to you as I did, for now you will believe me and know that I understand. I love this world up here as you love it. I am never going back again." Jeanne was silent. "But there is one thing, at least one, which I cannot understand in you," he went on, nerving himself for what might come a moment later. "You are of this world. You hate civilization. And yet you have brought a man into the north to teach you its ways. I mean this man who you say is the most wonderful man in the world." He waited, trembling. It seemed an eternity before Jeanne answered, and then she said, "He is my father, M'sieur Philip." Philip could not speak. Darkness hid him from Jeanne. She did not see that which leaped into his face, and that for a moment he was on the point of flinging himself at her feet. "You spoke of yourself, of Pierre, of your father, and of one other at Fort o' God," said Philip. "I thought that he, the other, was your tutor." "No, it is Pierre's sister," replied Jeanne. "Your sister? You have a sister?" He could hear Jeanne catch her breath. "Listen, M'sieur," she said after a moment. "I must tell you a little about Pierre, a story of something that happened a long, long time ago. It was in the middle of a terrible winter, and Pierre was then a boy. One day he was out hunting and he came upon a trail, the trail of a woman who had dragged herself through the snow in her moccasined feet. It was far out upon the barren, where there was no life, and he followed. He found her, M'sieur, and she was dead. She had died from cold and starvation. An hour sooner he might have saved her, for, wrapped up close against her breast, he found a little child, a baby girl, and she was alive. He brought her to Fort o' God, M'sieur, to a noble man who lived there almost alone, and there, through all these years, she has lived and grown up. And no one knows who her mother was, or who her father was. And so it happens that Pierre, who found her, is her brother, and the man who has loved her and cared for her is her father. And she is the other at Fort o' God, Pierre's sister," said Philip. Jeanne rose from the rock and moved toward the tent, glimmering indistinctly in the night. Her voice came back chokingly. "No, M'sieur. Pierre's real sister is at Fort o' God. I am the one whom he found out on the barren." To the night sounds there was added a heartbroken sob, and Jeanne disappeared in the tent. Chapter 13. Recording by Roger Moline.